Okay, let's get planning. It always pays to spend a little bit of time to plan things out before you load it all up into Facebook. And this is the difference between amateurs and pros. Pros take the time to think it through and plan it out, and then you execute. If you do that, you're going to save yourself a lot of time. You're going to save yourself mistakes that get made, and also so you can think how you can structure things and strategically structure things down the road. So I like to keep things super simple. I don't need anything that is really fancy or beautiful looking. Sometimes if you're visually, if you learn visually and you like to see things visually, you may want to draw it out in a mind map, or sometimes I like to use Miro.com, which is like an online whiteboard, or you can just make a very simple spreadsheet. I'm going to pull one up here that I have. And as you can see here, it's really super simple. And we're going to go through each parts of these in the campaign plan. So just that you're thinking it out ahead of time. So what we have here is I've got just a very simple Excel spreadsheet, and let me walk you through each parts of this here so that you can just put your mind to it in terms of how we're planning this out. So first of all, we need to know what we're doing, right? Are we doing a campaign for an opt-in, for a purchase, is it just a value campaign? What exactly is it? So under here under the campaign name, I'm actually going to put down what it is. And a little note here about naming. I touched on it already, but I wanted to emphasize again that I do think it's important to have very clear and organized naming conventions. I know that some people have codes, and that's okay, but I just personally prefer not to have to look at a name and refer to a legend. Okay, I think that people should be able to look at this, and it should give you an indicator of what that campaign is for without having to go to all these other documents to try and decipher and remember what it's for. So for example, here, let's just pretend we are doing a campaign for webinar registrations. I've put here, maybe the webinar is about how to do Facebook ads. So we'll put Facebook webinar registrations. And then in brackets, I like to say what the objective is. So I have here CONV for conversions. We'll go through all the different objectives there are that you can choose, but this would be the very typical type of campaign I would create. And CBO, again, I'll walk you through what that means. That stands for campaign budget optimization. And so that way at a glance, I can quickly see this is what the campaign is for, and here's the settings we're using for it. I'm also putting over here a reference to our audience. So I'm going to walk you through how to do the research to create the targeting. And this is the reference for the audience. And I've made it specific here just so I know what the audience is. The ages, male or female, the geographic location. Normally I would have these researched already and saved inside the Facebook ads area, which again, I will walk you through in the next section. And then here is where I see people make some of the biggest mistakes. I find that some people don't put enough attention to making sure that they consider what audiences they're excluding. So we want to exclude audiences for two reasons. Number one, we don't want ads to go in front of people that they don't need to see it. So that's just wasting our money and our clients' money. We also want to make sure that we avoid overlapping. So that's what we use excluded audiences for. So let's put our minds to it. So for example, for this one, because I'm focusing on a cold audience, well, first of all, people who've already registered for the webinar do not need to see the ad. So I've listed that over here. I would also list all of the warm audiences that we've created, all of your retargeting audiences. I would list all of those and exclude them. The reason is that you're going to create another audience that is the warm audience, and you're going to run ads there. So remember, we don't want to have overlap, or we want to minimize overlap as much as we can. So this is why we want to do this. So I've got, I just started listing out the warm audiences here. We'd probably also want to exclude a list of our buyers and also our main list. So when we go through here, let's just put them all in detail. The next part is the type of ad. So in this case, I'll be doing a link ad, and I'm going to be doing an image. And then we've got our URLs, the landing page. These are all the different components of an ad that I'll walk you through. And then finally on the creative, we can just put a link to wherever that image is. Maybe you have it on Google Drive or something like that. So once you've got this ready, then you can dive in and get ready to load up all the information into Facebook.